Talk. Talk. Talk to me Tuesday. Welcome back to Talk to me Tuesday. I'm your host, Madi B. And we're back once again, and we're already here in August, and we're going to have such a special show. Today's show is in honor of all the back to school that's happening all over. It's getting back to normal. It's going back to school. So this whole month is, we're definitely recognizing the kids that are going back to school, starting their journey again for their new school and their new school year. A lot of kids didn't get that last year. And if it was their first year, like a kindergarten, they didn't even get to experience it. They were just at home as if nothing changed. So look, we love to see the back to school getting back to a little bit of normal. But better yet, we love to see these back to school pictures. It just warms my heart to see everyone back in their first day outfit and their little signs. I think it's super, super cute. But what other than to have a special guest today? We have a special guest. Tiffany is joining us today. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, we're super excited to have you. We're so grateful to actually have a teacher on our back to school show. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you're doing. And look, I love your background. It definitely, tell me you're a teacher without telling me you're a teacher, right?
Since day one, they've been drawing pictures and I'm like, yes, I love it. I'll put them up.
I love it. And look, we're really going to tap into the back to school. So Tiffany, let's just go right on ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself as a person and also as a teacher.
Well, my name's Tiffany, obviously. I just turned 27 this year, and this is only my second year teaching. I actually graduated from Texas State about 4 years ago, and I did not get my degree in teaching, which is a bit weird. I feel like sometimes teachers don't, this dudes kind of fall into it, but it seems to be where life kept leading me to, and I work in special education, so it always seemed to kind of be a part of my journey throughout my life. My mom's done it, so, I like to have fun in my classroom, but I also like to, really work with the kids to help them be successful, and I feel like that's really important. So
That's a beautiful story, and I want to tap a little bit more about that. First of all, shout out to my alma mater as well, Texas State.
Yes, ma'am. Eat 'em up, eat 'em up.
So I love to kind of hear other people that are also from my same university. So I think that's great. So I knew we had a connection here. And you did mention there that you graduated and not with teaching degree. So let's tap into what degree did you graduate from? Because I think this is going to motivate some kids that are watching out there too.
My degree is actually in recreation administration. So with that, you can go into a lot of different fields. Initially, I had planned to work in like program planning. So in rec centers, and that's really where I started out. I've always been with the special needs community. But sometimes things just seem to work out in a different type of way. And, I graduated in 2017, and then I believe it was in 18, I got my first job as in a school district, and I was like, okay, well, this seems to be.
Yeah, so no, I think that's great. I want to kind of touch into, I think that's great that you started off on something different, and then it sounds like it fell in your lap, right? That you got into teaching. So how did this teaching opportunity, which I know you're an amazing teacher, how did that land in your lap? And how did you get the opportunity to, explore this?
So my mom actually was a special education teacher, is a special education teacher, has been for the past, I think this is her going on her 19th year. And, fresh out of college, trying to find work, it's kind of hard. And you kind of go wherever you can go. And opportunity opened up in a behavior classroom, and I was like, I've done this before. I've worked with this. I've watched my mom do it for so long. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. And I seem to really be very sorry.
It's okay. Look, you're live in action at the school right now. So we have the pleasure of having kids all around you, and we love it.
Definitely, you never know what's going to happen in a day in my classroom. But, it seems to just, honestly, it just kind of came about it. And there were days where you're like, man, this is tough. But the amount of people that tell me how well I'm doing, how much progress they've seen with students, like how much I'm made for this job, it's like, wow, yeah. I guess this is where I'm supposed to be. So, and then I've just kind of gone into it. So, this is my second year, and we're getting into the groove of things, 5 days in.
Nice. And look, we're going to talk about that. You just said that you have 2 years underneath your belt on teaching, which is beautiful. We're going to maximize a little bit about that. But talk to us about what grade, all those kiddos running around in the background, what grades are we talking about, or if there's a specific subject as well?
So I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade life skills. I do reading, writing, and social studies. And just kind of, it's really, since I am in special education, I have kids kind of all over in their learning. So I can go anywhere from about first grade level to maybe about a 7th grade level. It really just depends on the students, their needs, their abilities. So trying to make lesson plans and that work out for everybody while working with so many different students at one time, it can be really challenging, but we always get things done. I have a great team behind me that are really helpful, so it works out pretty well.
That's awesome. And look, you're talking about teaching life skills and also progressing their ability on their education. You mentioned a range from all the way from first grade level all the way to potentially 7th grade. And look, with that, you have to be very well versed, right? You have to be able to basically pivot at any level of the education in which the child is. And I think that's commendable. Tell us a little bit about your day and maybe some of the challenges that you face, or even some of the positive things that you see. I mean, look, how many days are you in school? Is this your second day in school?
This is actually our 5th day of school. Just 1 minute.
And they are getting used to being back in school for sure. And the structure that, we got to keep in mind. The structure wasn't there for a whole year. And the structure was more so what was in people's households. So I do want to talk a little bit about that, is your experience as being a teacher last year. And then we're going to talk about your experience as a teacher this year, right? So how did you feel last year when you started school? Were you scared? Were you just didn't know what to expect being virtual? Tell us a little bit. And that was your first year, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
It's really funny. Everyone always wonders, like, man, how did you do it? And I'm like, I honestly don't even know. And I tell really the first thing I told the kids, this is new to you. This is new to me. We're going to figure this out together. I've never taught online, much less taught in a classroom. So trying to just really figure it out together was a process. And we definitely had difficult days. We had lots of tears, but lots of happy moments. And I think those are the little happy moments to see the progress when we did finally get to come back and everything started getting back in action. Was really like, okay, we can do this. We're going to be okay. The kids were really flexible with it. I know it was very hard on them, but I mean, for me, honestly, I'm always nervous. Even this year, I was like still nervous, but because it's just, you never know what you're going to get into. You're meeting new kids each year, and maybe you've met them previously very briefly, but until you get in a classroom and you spend 8 hours a day with them, you have no idea what you're going to experience. And then definitely being in special education, every day is like a new surprise. It's just,
Yeah, and they say if you get nervous about something that you do on a daily, that means you really truly love it. And I love to hear that because those butterflies, I'm sure that you feel like it just shows the passion that you have. And I think that's beautiful. So last year, look, I don't know, did you even think you guys were going back to school this year? Did you just, was everything up in the air? Because last year I feel like was a blur for a lot of us.
I felt pretty confident we were going to come back because towards, I think it was around Thanksgiving, that's when they really started allowing kids to come back. And then around spring break, it was mandatory that the kids came back. Just because I know a lot of people, not even just my district, but notice, it's really hard to learn online. Even when I was in college, I took one online class and I was like, no, this is difficult. A lot of kids are very hands-on. So they were struggling. And I think a lot of grades all over the board in education noticed that. So, and then, attendance was dropping because, hey man, I'm a log on and I'm a log right back off. So it was all up. So I was really confident that we were going to come back. I was nervous just because the spike and everything. And so my district is doing reconstruction on my campus. So I'm on the junior high campus, but they have actually placed us onto the high school campus. And they've integrated 6th grade into our junior high as well. So now we have 6th through 12th grade on one campus. I'm actually in a portable building. So I had to, pack up everything and really figure out, man, how am I going to make all these students fit into my classroom and figure out which way we're going to go, what's going to happen. So it was just, it's just it's been another year of, I'm just going to go with what I got and I'm going to make the best of it.
Hey, you're getting a lesson here. I don't know if you're seeing it. Just go with the flow. Sometimes I know it's very hard to go with the flow, but with the times, not only virtual but also in classroom, you're having to. So that now that you're back to school, I can only guess how busy you must be. Not just that, I hear it. I hear the kids all around you. They probably are dying to come on the other side of the camera. But tell us a little bit about that preparation and that planning that goes into the school year. Like, I know a lot of teachers, they think about how to decorate their classroom, what type of curriculum to offer. Tell us about your process.
To the front on the bus ramp.
Intercom things.
Come to the front by the bus ramp.
It's definitely a process. Like I said, my curriculum is all over the board. So trying to really figure out what's going to work best. Luckily, from previous teachers, there's been lots of resources given to me from my mom, from my co-teacher. I have a lot of options to try and pull information, but it definitely takes weeks of preparation and just dedication. My co-teacher spends at least the extra 2 weeks up here trying to get everything ready, and then I'm up here, or at home searching up different information, going over different they're basically like goals and objectives for students, things that they're trying to work on, just so I can really help them get through that and be successful in those, and then move on to whatever comes next. So it's even now, like I said, with the move of the process, we are running rampant throughout the day, trying to get everything set up for everyone and make sure everybody has everything they need and they're getting the proper work or assistance one-on-one. It's just, I don't think I sit down at my desk for more than 5 minutes at a time. Like, this is probably the longest I've sat at my desk since we started. But then even with that, most districts will go back right before school starts, so you can kind of prep your room, but it's more a lot of professional development days. We go through a lot of trainings, whether it be behavioral, data taking. We follow something called the Fundamental 5, which is, different ways to implement work and structure throughout your classroom, how to do that. It's just a whole process, week of trainings and getting ready and making sure everything is just prepped. So it runs a bit smoother, but it's school and you never really know what's going to happen.
It sounds like you kind of are working at school, and then when you get home, you may have to pivot, might have to adjust. And I think that's great. And I love to hear the passion, because you really want to make those kiddos better and really give them some lessons from them to learn from. So you did keep mentioning that you have a team. So talk to me a little bit about the team that you have there with you, unless you're doing this all on your own.
There is absolutely no way I could do this on my own. I would probably pull all my hair out and cry more than I do on a weekly basis. But so I am lucky enough to have 4 paraprofessional aides who really help take our students out to other classrooms, work with them one-on-one if need be, and really, assist them in any type of way they need. As you can hear right now, we have some bit of struggles today. It's been a rough Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then my co-teacher as well. So I mentioned I teach, English and language arts and social studies. She teaches math and science. So it makes it a lot easier to try and divide those subjects up. So we're not trying to all do all of them together. They're great. Luckily, my co-teacher has been doing this a lot longer than I have. So she's been a great mentor to really help me, along with, my paraprofessionals who I can really just ask them for anything. I was really busy, when the first week started, back to get my room together with the trainings and stuff. And they really I came back every day and they had more and more stuff done for me. And so I was just like so appreciative of everything they do on a daily basis, because you never know what's going to happen in here. And it's always a surprise. And, the small blessings all make it worth it, the small victories. But it definitely we can have some rough days. And so I'm really grateful to all of them that, help me out, guide me, and, even allow me to have this time to do this and kind of just let everybody know what's going on in the teacher world.
Look, and we're very appreciative of them too, because that way we're able to really have a good, solid interview with you. Now, I know you did mention you do life skills and special education. And I see that it's teaching you also patience, because your world around you, your classroom may be chaotic, but you have a very calm demeanor. Even in this interview, there's a lot happening and you're still just really calm. And I think that's also very helpful for the children as well. So talk to us about, what is your typical day for you?
I am amazed that you think I'm so calm. I worked really hard to actually practice this calm demeanor, because it's just, I've definitely learned, energy set off other energy. So if I'm being very upset and angry, I might just push another student to be very angry, upset. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely days where I have to raise my tone and let them know, hey, we have to do it this way. This is what, but then it's always going back and explaining it, and then trying to remind, just like I said, they're all on different levels. I could have someone, having a really upsetting time, and I'm trying to keep calm for the rest of my kids. Well, and that's where my great team comes in. They really take over that issue, or if I have to step in and take over that issue, they can take over with the rest of the class to try and just keep things going. It's always about just keep going. If ever need be, we'll remove ourselves, whatever's going on. But just to try and keep a flow of things, because I want to make it as normal as possible. We're still in school. We still have to do this. Yes, things are a bit different than if we were in a gen ed class, but I'm trying to, help some of those students who really could have that independence and go out to do other things. Let them know, hey, this is what we're here to learn. This is what I'm trying to get for you guys. So I just feel like if I show that, if I can let them know, I can do it, you can do it too. And I always remind them, I'm an adult. It's taken me a minute to get here, but that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here to help you. We're going to figure it out together and we'll get it done. But I really appreciate you thinking I'm so calm.
No, yes, I definitely commend you. Now, I really appreciate how your world is and you being transparent with us. Now, I want you to kind of explain, you've only 5 days in the classroom so far back to school, but how is it different from COVID school year last year? And which one do you like better? Do you like the in-house? Do you like the in-school? Which one?
I think the way it's different, is bye. He's leaving for the day. It's definitely different because I felt like when we were, virtual, I had a lot more, I was able to get a lot more done. There wasn't, oh, well, Miss Tiffany, we need you to go here because this is happening, or we need to do this, and this. It was kind of like, okay, we're here, we're in class on virtual, but then they weren't physically here. So my workload was not as much. Now that everyone's back, which I definitely think it's a lot easier being back. I really struggled with virtual work just because a lot of my kids need a lot of hands-on help, and I wasn't there. Maybe, they didn't have someone there to help them. So it was a struggle in that situation. So in the teaching part is definitely better that we're back. I like being able to help them. I like being able to see what exactly they need help on, me being able to walk over and explain something. In the paperwork sense, virtual was a lot easier. I felt like I had more time to really get done what I needed to get done in that aspect. So they both have their pros and cons, but I'm definitely glad to be back. I know a lot of kids just being stuck at home. I don't like to be stuck at home, so I know maybe they enjoyed it because they get to play their video games or be on their phone, but I think genuinely they are excited to be back. They're excited to be with their friends, and I'm excited to meet them. They make me laugh as much as, they might stress me out, but it's all good.
Yeah, so let's talk about last year in your teaching and how the parents came into play. I know you mentioned, I couldn't be there to be hands-on, but how were the parents having to step in to almost be like a mini teacher or like your aide in a sense, right?
They definitely were, if I wasn't there to help them, I'd have to, it was a lot of like calling home, checking in, making sure everything's going. And then sometimes even having to explain to parents, like I know it's different because curriculum has changed so much. So maybe what we learned when we were in school, they're not learning it the same way. So parents are like, I don't even know this. So even for them, it was like they were trying to relearn everything. And I can only imagine how stressful it was for them.
Not to mention to have a job too, probably working from home.
To have a job to try and find childcare. My kids are a little older, so some of them, they would be chilling at home by themselves, but some of them, their parents, I honestly don't know how they really manage that. I mean, a lot of my parent friends that I would know, they were frustrated. They were just like, I don't know what to do. I don't have time for this. Like, my kid needs to go to school, but I need to go to work. And I felt for them really bad. I don't have children of my own. So I didn't, as a teacher, I understood. I just told them, I was like, I get it. Please try your best. That's all I can ask. That's like I tell my kids, I want you to try your best. I'll never be upset for you for being wrong. I'll never be upset for you for asking for help, but just try your best. And then we'll get through it. We'll correct what we can. It's all a learning experience.
Yeah. And look, I think last year we all got to, whether we were an educator or not, we really got to applaud the teachers on the workload that they do, whether you do have kids or you have friends that have kids. Same boat. I have friends that have kids, and it's very much appreciated what teachers have to go through day in and day out, and having multiple kids, right? Not just one, multiple.
Yeah, multiple.
Tell me what is something you, as a teacher, learned from last year, because look, teachers learn from their students as well, or the curriculum. So tell us what you learned from last year. It could be a lesson, or it could be something that you never knew.
I think probably the biggest thing I learned was to really separate work and home, because a lot of the time I caught myself taking home my work stresses, which as a teacher, there's always going to be times you have to take work home. And that's not really what I mean. I mean, today I have a whole stack of stuff right here that I'm like, I have to go home and get this ready. But the mentality of it, the emotions that you may go through at work, definitely in special education, they become your babies after a minute, and you care about them and you worry about them, but eventually you have to kind of leave some of the stressors, like the heavy stressors at work, and go home and really regroup, relax, because if you come back the next day with all of it, it's only going to continue to pile on. And then once you're drained, you can't really help them if you're just not 100%. So I think that was really the biggest one I learned, especially with COVID and everything going on, how stressful all that was, just trying to find that balance to me be like, okay, the day's over. I've done what I can do. I'm going to go home. I'm going to rest my mind, my body, and then come back and do better tomorrow, continue tomorrow, and then go on about it.
I love it. Look, I think that lesson is not just for you, for teachers, but for all of us. I think, we've all had to learn how to be in an office that might be right here in a living room and have to separate the same space and be now in home, right?
Right.
That's a very good point that you're bringing up for any profession that's watching.
Definitely.
So I think we've all learned that from last year right along with you. So now let's talk a little bit about your classroom and a little bit about the culture. What is the average classroom size or kiddos that you have in your classroom that you kind of get an idea?
So normally for like a life skills classroom, you probably wouldn't see more than, I would say, 10 in a classroom. Now, where I work in my district, I work in a very small district, talking about no more than 200 kids per grade level. And then outside of where I work, there are two other districts who don't offer life skills special education. So my district has come up with a co-op that now houses those two districts as well. So my classroom actually has about 20 students in it. And it seems that I am getting more and more. I just got a new student today, and I'll be getting a new one on Friday. So it's always, it's a lot. It's a lot for 2 teachers. It's a lot for 4 paraprofessionals. But we do our best, and we're just here, like I said, we're here to help those who can be more independent, gain those wings to go, because it's becoming, it's heavy. It's a lot of children and only so many adults. And I remind them that every day. I'm like, there's a lot of you guys, and there's only one of me right now, because maybe my paras are out here or out there, or even they're working one-on-one. So, trying to keep our voice levels down, or just understand everything. And taking on 6th grade now, they're not too keen on it, because they've been in elementary school. They're really just young, and so really learning about that. But so it's a lot, but we're making it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It is a pretty big classroom size. I will agree with you on teaching lifestyle and special education. So let's talk a little bit about the culture, not only the school culture, but the culture that you bring into your classroom, right?
Okay.
The kiddos, Tiffany, what is that culture like that you guys exude to the kiddos? Give me a little more. So the culture in regards to like how the environment is,
Okay.
You guys are very family oriented, if you're loving, if you're just very all about the curriculum, like what's the culture like?
I definitely remind my kids that we're kind of like a team, and we're a family here, and my parents definitely remind them that as well. We're here, we care about you, we want you to be able to come to us, we want you to be comfortable with us. I want any of my students or mentees, I guess you could say, that I want you to be able to come to me. Yes, this is a classroom. Yes, I am your teacher, and there has to be structure, but I didn't really like school growing up. I don't like to be strict and mean all the time. I don't have to. Now, like I said, I will get stern with my tone if I really have to, but I remind them, I'm like, I don't like to be like that with you guys. I want us to have fun. I want learning to be fun, because I feel like you learn more when you're having fun, when you're actually doing hands-on things. So I definitely consider us to be like a family here, and really try to bring that out to all of the students, or my district, my school, we like to call them our scholars, to let them know, like, hey, we're here for you. We want you to succeed because we believe in you. And I know you think maybe I'm mean because I'm being hard, but I really explain to them just like I would anybody else. I'm hard on you because I believe in you and I know you can do this. And if it's difficult, tell me. I'll help you. I'm here to help you. I care about you. I care about your success. I want you to do great. I want you to be able to go do all the things you want to do. But work with me and I'll work with you, and we're going to get through it. I definitely just want that. I want them to be comfortable. That's one thing I always tell them. I don't ever want anyone to feel out of place or like they can't come to me or any other teacher in this classroom, or that maybe they're upset with another peer. I say, hey man, we spend 8 hours a day together. It is okay to be upset with somebody. Just let me know and we can make a break happen. We can take time, because I get that. I spend hours with my friends and I'm like, you know what? I need to go home. I need to go home. I need a minute by myself, because you can't spend so much time with somebody. So just really trying to let them know, like, we're all here together. We all understand. We've all been there. We definitely want to make everybody just feel welcomed and comfortable in here.
Wow, well, that's just beautiful. And I know those kids, those 20 kids that you have, are very lucky to have you as a teacher.
Thank
now,
you.
One thing, are you the only special education teacher at your district, or is there other classroom that have? Okay.
No. So me and my co-teacher are the only ones for our campus for junior high.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, we have like a pre-K, and I believe first, like pre-K, kindergarten, and possibly first grade. They've kind of switched everything around since moving 6th grade here. So I think it's just like pre-K and kinder. So they'll have their teachers, and then our elementary school has, I believe, 1 or 2 teachers, and then our high school has 1 teacher.
Got it.
And then everybody has their group of paraprofessionals as well. So luckily, there's like a posse.
Yeah.
We're really trying to work on getting together at least once a month, throw back ideas back and forth. What's working here? What's working there? What's not working? Just keeping up, because, our kids keep going. They keep going through all of us. So it's like, hey, let's stay up to date on this. Let's keep up with what data we've collected, what we see is going to work, what's not going to work. And it helps to have that team to really rely and fall back on each other. Like, man, this is what I'm struggling with, because maybe they've experienced it with a different student. And they're like, well, this is something I tried that maybe you didn't even think about.
Yeah, I agree. Now, let me ask you something, Tiffany. What is something you are excited for this year in reference to maybe your curriculum, your classroom, or just maybe the school year? What is something you are excited about?
So actually, I think the most, besides, like starting the school year, and I think 6th grade coming, it's a bit scary. It's exciting. I think the most thing I'm excited about for like the school year in general, I actually took on the cheerleading for this year. So I'm the cheer sponsor. I think it's been a bit stressful. I'm not gonna lie. I think the whole school situation can be stressful, but I'm very excited about it. My girls are really excited about it. We actually start practice this week, and I was like, Miss Tiffany, what do we do? And I'm like, girls, it's 5 days into school. We're gonna get it done. Their wind pants came in today, and so we're slowly getting pieces of our uniform, and it's just really exciting. So I think that's probably being able to do that, and like schedule pep rallies and work with other teachers and clubs, and then, really get my classroom involved into that, because the year before I felt like, we were really left out of that. I feel like sometimes they're really left out, and I don't ever want them to feel that way. So being able to have that foot in the door with them, and then be in my life skills, like a life skills teacher, I feel like I can really open that up for them. So.
Well, I'm excited for you. I know that's very exciting. I know the cheerleaders are the ones that are literally cheering everyone on, especially the athletes. So I think that's great, and utilizing and have a great coach as well. So look, we want to ask you one of our final questions that we have with you, Tiffany. School supplies, right? I want to ask, how important is school supplies? And then the bigger question, how difficult is it to get school supplies?
School supplies is probably one of the biggest things, especially, so I work probably in more of a low income district. Not everybody can really afford school supplies. And then with other students coming in from other school districts, it's just, it's all over the board. But, little Johnny comes to school, he doesn't have a pencil. Well, maybe he couldn't afford a pencil. He couldn't afford that. But then he's getting yelled at. It's just, I think that can lead into like such a big factor of like maybe how his whole entire day is going to turn out just because he didn't have a pencil. And you don't know. Like, I think one of my biggest things is that I tell my kids, I don't know what you go through out of the 8 hours a day I see you. I try to keep up, but so school supplies, being able to just have a notebook, have a pencil, have a backpack to carry all your stuff. Yeah. Sorry. And then just maybe you don't have as nice as stuff. Maybe this person has like Crayola and you had to get crazy, or, it's all, kids can be so picky and stuff. So I think, just being able to have it though, some kids don't even have it, be grateful for what you have. So luckily this year, they've tried to give us the minimal supplies. They've tried to give us, a few stuff, but even, I know a lot of teachers, we go out and we buy multiple stuff because pencils break, binders break, rulers get lost, and then even as teachers, we have to use what's given or what's brought. We're providing it for all the students because maybe not everyone could afford it. So I feel like school supplies is such a big thing. Everybody needs it. And then it's costly. It's so expensive. I go through because I love looking at it. I think it's one of my favorite things about when school starts is looking at all the stuff. And I can rack up like so much money just picking out the things I want. And it's really crazy how expensive it can be when it's just like, it's a necessity. My kid needs this to go to school. My kids need this to learn, but why is it so expensive?
So, we've listened to people like yourself that are teachers, also parents, and this is the reason why we're doing something this month called Heroic Behavior. This month, at the end of the month, if you guys or even your students, Tiffany, have not had the chance to, basically put their name in to potentially win, we are giving away school supplies to one lucky winner. It could be a parent. It could be, there's not many children on Facebook, right? But if so, monitored by the parent. So if you have a parent, Tiffany, that could utilize that, let them know so they can go on our Heroic Behavior. It's a contest that we kind of do every month. And we're giving out a backpack and school supplies. Why? Because we know, first of all, it could get costly. Second of all, you do run into these specific things and then they run out. You go to the store, they don't have, there's a special type of pencil that they require.
Yes, the number 2 pencil.
Regular pencil.
It's like, what happened to just my pencil? Why doesn't my pencil work anymore? Miss Scantron, I don't get it.
Exactly. So we're doing that for one lucky winner at the end of this month. We're giving out that giveaway. So all you have to do is 4 little things. Go on our social media page and like our page. Like the picture that you see on the screen right now. Make sure you tag someone. So if you know parents, Tiffany, if you know parents, tag them on the social media page.
Definitely.
Also putting it on your social media page, sharing it on your story. And that is what you have to do to qualify to potentially win. And they're all free things. Super easy.
Who doesn't love free?
Who does not love free? Exactly. Now, Tiffany, it's been such a pleasure to have you on this show. And most importantly, to hear your heart and to allow us to get transparent on what you've experienced on pretty much your first week of school, right?
Basically, my first 5 days. Oh, man.
So,
it feels like it's
advice that you would give either other teachers or even parents that are watching or even students that are watching this? What is one nugget of advice you'd want to give them for this school year?
I would say be flexible. Like, especially in my area, you never know what's going to happen. More so, not even just teachers, everybody, parents. You never know what could happen in school, especially with COVID and everything going on. Be flexible and go with the flow. I mean, try not to stress about it. I know we can't help it. We stress. We're humans. I stress all the time, but that's probably the one thing that anybody on this campus will know that I'm going to say. At this point, I'm just going with it, because if I can't fix it, I shouldn't stress about it. All it's going to do is just upset me. I'm going to do my best I can, and eventually everything will work out. As long as I work at it, it'll work out. So be flexible and go with the flow.
I love it, especially with the year that we just went. I think everyone should probably be professional, flexible people, right?
Definitely.
You know what? Like you said, there's nothing we can do. We can't help it. Some of us are just naturally either stressed out about those things. So just working out on the craft, I definitely agree with you. So Tiffany, I want to thank you for being on the show and just being on here and just allowing us into your classroom, literally. So much.
Well, thank you so much. I was super excited to talk to you guys, and I really appreciate it for letting me tell you all about it.
Yes, and we're gonna definitely do some business with you.
Okay.
Trying to help out those kiddos, and we'll stay. We'll kind of talk a little bit after the show. But for all of you guys that are watching, that are going back to school, haven't started school, that are still probably doing virtual learning, stay at it. Like Tiffany said, be flexible, right? You never know what tomorrow's going to bring. You never know what next month is going to bring. So we just got to be prepared, but also in the same token, have an open mind to learn as much as you can, whether you're a student or even a parent. We're all learning on this together. We're doing it together. And it's very, very exciting to kind of feel a little sense of normal going back to school and all that good stuff. So I want to thank all of you guys. I want to thank all those kiddos that are out there. And I want to say, have a great school year. I know it's going to be an amazing one, but make sure you dedicate to learning, because education is extremely important. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Talk to Me Tuesday, for sharing the show, and most importantly, for making sure that we get to educate people like yourself. So thank you for tuning in. Until next time, I'm your host, Madi B. Bye.